Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head to Landskrona here in Skåne in southern Sweden, and we're going to revisit a brewery who I've had some very good experiences with in the past, and they're a specialist sour beer brewery, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go back to Brekeriet today and we're having a taste of one of their regular beers. This one is a regular in Systembolagets range. So we're going to have a taste of the Untappd IPA today. This one comes in at 6.5%, brewed with Brettanomyces as the name suggests, and the hops in this one are Citrat, Centennial, Columbus, Mandarina, Bavaria and El Dorado. So it should be a really interesting beer, this one. It should be really nice actually. I've heard good things about this one from a number of people, so I'm really looking forward to trying this one for you here on the channel, and as always I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, link to my other reviews that I've done from Brekeriet before. You will definitely see more of these in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Brekeriet then before we get on to the tasting. So Brekeriet were originally based in Djursland, which is just outside of Malmö, but as I mentioned to you, they're now based in Landskrona, which is kind of halfway between Lund and Helsingborg. But the company was founded back in 2011 by the Ek brothers. So this is Fredrik, Christian and Andre, and they're a specialist brewery in wild beers or sour ales, however you want to call them, that use Brettanomyces. They were the first brewery in Sweden to do this, and as far as I know they remain the only brewery in Sweden to completely specialise in sour beers. There is Temple Brewhouse up in Uppsala who do a lot of sour beers, but I think they've got some other IPAs and things like that as well. And there's also Örebro Brewhouse who do some sour beers. They do a few Brettanomyces and things like that. Very nice Brettanomyces actually, but they've got stouts and other stuff in there as well. Sour beers are becoming more and more popular, but Brekeriet, as far as I know, are the only ones in Sweden who are completely specialist in this. So the original brewery, as I mentioned to you, is in Djursland, and this was actually a share brewery for local farmers back in the day. But they brewed their first beers here back in 2012, and this brewery had quite a modest capacity of only 500 litres per brew, which gave them a yearly capacity of around 38,000 litres. But as of 2015 they had their new brewery in Landskrona, which can produce 20 hectolitres per brew, and they now have a fermentation capacity of 80 hectolitres as well. And apparently they produce their wild beers continuously in Landskrona, the wild bunch beers, and they also do some of their sour patch ones there as well. For a while they were doing some of their sour patch beers down in the brewery in Djursland, but I think they've moved out of that completely now. But in 2014 the brewery actually caused a little bit of a stir in Sweden because they withdrew completely from Systembolaget, and they were basically citing bureaucracy as being the main reason for this. Systembolaget, it has some good qualities, but the bureaucracy, some of the rules in Systembolaget can be a little bit weird. There's weird things in there where because of the European regulations and things like that, they're not allowed to favour Swedish breweries and things, and that hinders some of the Swedish breweries actually getting into Systembolaget, unfortunately. But apparently though, their beers returned into Systembolaget in 2016, and they've been there ever since. So hopefully there's nothing more like that. I think Systembolaget are actually trying to they're actually trying to change the rules a little bit, so it is easier for craft breweries and things like that, because obviously they want to produce small batch beers every so often, but I think it's something like every year they have to have their beers ready a year in advance of actually going into Systembolaget before they can be regulars and things. There's some really unusual rules and stuff in there, but in some ways it's good, in some ways it's bad, and in Brekeriet they had a little bit of a bad experience I guess, but I'm just glad that their beers are back in Systembolaget. But basically, if you want to try some Swedish beers and you like sour beers, Brekeriet are a pretty good place to go. I've had some really good beers from these guys, notably Purple Rain, and the Swedish Ninja was one of my other favourite ones as well. But I'm certainly looking forward to this one, and that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. So if you want to learn a little bit more, check out the brewery website in the description below, or you can follow them on Facebook and see what they're doing. But let's get on to the tasting of this beer itself. So I'll just let you have a little brief look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. There you can see the standard Brekeriet label art on this one. Brekeriet beer AB. There's the bottle cap on this one. Some of them, of course, are white with a black B. This one is black with a white B. But yeah, 6.5% IPA, hot with Citra, Centennial, Columbus, Mandarina Bavaria, and Eldorado. Eldorado I really like. They gives you some nice, lovely pineapple notes and things like that. But yeah, on the side here it says Uncle Brett IPA is part of our collection of beers known as specials, made in experimental batches in limited edition. But as I said, this is one that is regularly available in Systembolaget from what I understand. So yeah, and I think this is the European Union organic symbol, so this actually is an organic beer. So yeah, pretty cool. So without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we will get on with the tasting. Nice smoky opening there. Oh, you can smell some of these lovely fruits on this beer as well. And we'll just get this guy out and into the glass. Sometimes you need to be a bit careful with these beers because the head can go a little bit crazy on the sour beers sometimes. But that'll settle down quite nicely, I think. There we go. The slowest pour I've ever done on camera, I think. There we go. Good stuff. Okay, so look at that. That looks really nice actually. So as you can see with this one, it's poured a nice, rich, kind of orangey yellow colour. There's a solid finger of a frothy, solid finger and a half actually of a frothy, I would say perfect white head on that. Some of the sediment has gone in this one. You can see that just floating around and making the beer quite hazy. If I put my fingers behind the glass, you can see there is a bit of transparency to this beer, but mainly it is quite hazy, but pretty much looks as you would expect from an IPA. But yeah, let's take a closer look at the aroma then and just see how we get on. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass actually, but a good few little ones heading up towards the bottom of that head, and you can see the head has just gone down a little bit to be a single finger head. But yeah, let's have a look at the aroma then and see how we get on. Ooh, that's nice actually. There is a little bit of a malty presence to this one. You can definitely smell a little bit of a biscuity kind of bready thing to this. Yeah, there's almost a little bit of a grainy thing too, which is quite interesting. But yeah, lovely little bit of lemony citrus. You can really smell a little bit of that Brettanomyces tart sort of thing coming out of this one. But you're getting a little bit of that lemony citrus that you would get from the Centennial. It's coming out really nicely. Oranges as well, that'll be the Mandarina Bavaria. Mangoes, that'll be the Citra of course. A little bit of mango in there. And I want to say it's got a little bit of a kind of apricot-y, pineapple-y sort of thing, which I'm guessing will be the Eldorado. Yeah, and the grassy floral quality on this one, it's got a little bit of an almost spicy note to it. This one's got an interesting, almost spicy herbal kind of thing. Almost a little bit like, is it aniseed or something like that? It's got a little bit of something along the lines of that, which I think would be the Columbus. Columbus is mainly a bittering hop from what I remember, and it gives you this sort of slightly aniseedy, floral spicy sort of thing, which is really interesting. There's a lot of stuff going on in the aroma in this beer, so just take a little bit of time and enjoy that before you get stuck in. There's a little bit of a, as I was saying, the grassy sort of floral side of the hops in this one. It's quite unusual. It does lean towards the grassy side of things, and there is a little bit of that floral quality in there. But it's got a little bit of everything actually, which is quite nice. There's a whole raft of things going on in the aroma of this beer. So as I always say, just take a little bit of time. Just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of the beer before you get stuck into it. It is really quite nice actually. Just take a little bit of time with this. But yeah, let's get stuck into this beer then. So this one is the Uncle Brett IPA from Brekeriet in Landskrona in Skåne here in southern Sweden. Let's have a taste of this one then. Slange, skål. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually. It's interesting how this one's going together. Yeah, this is definitely, it's one of the more hoppy ones that I've had from Brekeriet actually. This one's definitely got a little bit more of a kind of floral presence to it, if that makes sense. The hops have definitely got a bigger, bitter kick to them, which is really interesting. In terms of the malt base in this one, you can feel a little bit of that bready quality. That just goes right across the middle of your palate there. So you can feel that going right across the middle of your palate. On top of that, there's a little bit of a kind of grainy thing. You can feel as you go further into the aftertaste some of these grainy notes just pushing their way out of the beer. But the malt base, it doesn't have much sweetness to it. That's the interesting thing about this one. Yeah, it doesn't have much sweetness to it, this beer actually, at the beginning, but it does get sweeter as you go on and on with it. In terms of the hoppy side of the things then, a little bit of earthy quality in the back corners of your palate, but as you come further forward along the sides of your tongue, there's a little bit of a kind of herbal quality in there. I think, you know, the Columbus, you can really get a little bit of that spicy, almost aniseedy quality coming out. I just want to check that it is the Columbus that's in here. Yeah, the Columbus. The Columbus, from what I remember, is supposed to give you this almost curryish, sometimes aniseedy, sort of floral kind of thing, and you can really pick it up in this beer. I've never had a beer where it's actually come out so prominently, if that makes sense. So there's definitely a little bit this almost curryish kind of thing going on the sides of the palate there, and in the front corners of the tongue it becomes a more pure, if you like. It does become a little bit of a more pure, slightly spicy floral aromatic note. Then round the very front curve of the palate, it's that kind of typical sort of lighter grassy kind of thing that you would expect. But the way the fruity notes come out in this beer is pretty nice, I have to say that. So if you just go behind the front curve of the palate, then you'll feel that little oily bubble where those nice juicy fruity esters start to come out of the beer. So for me, this one, it's kicking off. You've got a good bit of mango in there, and that'll be the citra coming out. On top of that, you're getting a little bit of a kind of pineapple-y, apricot-y thing, which I would say is the El Dorado. And just towards the very tip of your tongue, I think it's a sort of lemony citrus, which will be the Centennial. I'm not getting too much of the sort of orangey notes that you would expect from the Mandarina Bavaria. Yeah, I'm not getting, as I say, there's maybe a little touch of orange, but the Mandarin Bavaria, I think, in this one is a little bit more subdued than the other ones. It's definitely the mangoes and the sort of the pineapple-y, apricot-y kind of things from the El Dorado. Those are the two things, I think, that are taking the lead, and there is a little bit of that lemony citrus from the Centennial in there as well. The Mandarina Bavaria, I think, is taking a bit of a back seat, but that said, Mandarina Bavaria, from what I remember, is about an 8% alpha acid hop, whereas if you take the Citra, the Centennial and the El Dorado, I believe they're all above 10% alpha acid. I'm sure it's something like that, so maybe that's the reason for the Mandarina Bavaria is considerably lower in alpha acid than the other ones, but I don't know how that would affect the flavours coming out, of course. But overall, it's quite an interesting beer, this one. It's definitely different from some of the other ones that I've had from Brekeriet, and as I say, it's interesting to see how that Columbus hop comes out a little bit more around the edge of the tongue, and this one's definitely a little bit less tart in terms of the Brettanomyces than some of the other ones. You can get a little bit of the tartness around the edge of the tongue, but definitely compared to some of the other Brekeriet beers that I've had, this one is notably less Bretty, if that makes sense, than some of the other ones, which I wasn't expecting when it was called Uncle Brett. I thought this was going to be a really sharp sour IPA. But overall, it's actually a little bit more hoppy and things, I think, than some of the other ones. But overall, it is quite nice. Have a go at it and see what you think for yourself. It's quite different from the other Brekeriet beers that I've had before. And that's one of the things that this brewery really has shown me, is just how diverse the sour beer category can be. So thumbs up to Brekeriet once again with this one. I do like what this one's trying to do. It's got some interesting flavour combinations going on. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say mid-bodied probably. Yeah, mid-bodied on this one. The carbonation's quite active in this, you could see that from the head when we were pouring it. So yeah, quite an active carbonation in this one. Good little bit of, I would say, good, yeah, good little bit of oily quality to it. It's got a nice oily mouthfeel, but at the same time it's got a little bit of wetness to it. Nice bit of hoppy bitterness, not really any sweetness from the malt base in this one, which is quite interesting, and a nice little bit of that kind of tartness that you expect, but a good little bit of fruity quality as well. But just as I say, have a go with this beer for yourself and see what you think. And yet again, Brekeriet have done a really kind of quite unusual beer. There's a fly going around there, get lost. But, yeah, there's but they've produced something here that's a little bit different. So have a go at this beer for yourself and see what you think. They've definitely given me something interesting to think about the sour beers now. But let's leave it at that. Have a go at this one for yourself and see what you think. So until the next time, Slange just now. Thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. Go and try this one for yourself and see what you think. But until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comments section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Brekeriet, and I will be returning to these guys in the fairly near future. This one was the Untappd IPA from Brekeriet in Landskrona here in Skåne in the south of Sweden. So Landskrona, really nice town, definitely worth checking out as well. But until the next time, Slange just now, and I will catch you guys very soon. Cheers.